Welcome to CNN 10, your down-the-middle explanation of world events. I'm Cral, Azuz, and our first story is a tale of two memos. Exactly 3 weeks ago, we reported on a memo released by Republicans on the Intelligence Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives. The memo was related to how, in 2016, U.S. government investigators got court approval to spy on a former advisor to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Republicans said the memo showed that U.S. investigators abused their power to do that. Democrats said the memo was misleading and that the whole truth wasn't being told. So Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee produced their own memo. At first, President Donald Trump refused to declassify or allow it to be published, saying it needed to be heavily redacted first. After some changes were made, the Democratic memo was released over the weekend. So how is it different? The Republican memo said investigators used unproven information to get the court's approval to spy. The Democratic memo says the unproven info was part of what investigators presented to the court, but that they gave other credible information as well. The Republican memo says government investigators did not tell the court that the info they presented came from a source who was biased against Donald Trump, and that it was partly paid for by Hillary Clinton's political campaign. The Democratic memo says investigators did tell the court that the source was biased and that he was collecting information for someone who wanted to discredit Trump's campaign. Republicans generally stand by their party's memo. Democrats generally stand by their party's memo. So how people are responding depends largely on where they side politically. Following up now on a story we brought you exactly 4 weeks ago. Cape Town, the second largest city in South Africa, is running out of water. A severe drought has drained its reservoirs, and unless Cape Town gets more rain, it predicts that its water taps will run dry in early July. If that happens, each of Cape Town's 4 million residents will be given 25 liters, or about 6.5 gallons per day to live on. For comparison, the average American uses between 80 and 100 gallons per day. So what could that be like? A CNN reporter and his wife, who used to live in Cape Town, decided to find out.
Cape Town, our former home, is in the midst of a water crisis, the worst drought the city has ever seen. When the water runs out, people will be allocated to 25 liters of water per day per person. So my family and I are going to try and live like Cape Townians. The water you see in front of us is all we'll be allocated to use. That's 75 liters for 3 people, roughly 20 gallons. In order to live like Cape Townians, we have to turn off the water to our house. Well, here goes nothing. Gotta start somewhere. Oh, I've already spilled water. You have to go through the list of all your activities that you normally use water for and allocate a certain amount of water and then add that up and make sure you fall under the 25 liters a day. Here you go, buddy. Once you start to see how small the numbers are, you start to really feel the pinch. Bathing was an interesting experience.
About 5 gallons each. 5 for you, 5 for Maya and I together.
You have to keep that water warm, so we had to heat it up over the stove.
It takes a long time. It's gonna be relaxing. I'm gonna have a bath now.
You're only talking like an inch or 2 of water depth. You wash yourself by sudsing up some soap and then using a cup. Once that dirty or gray water has been used for bathing, we took that water and we filled the back of the toilet, and that allowed us to flush the toilets when it was absolutely necessary. Voila! Every single process of our day was lengthened because of that, how am I going to do this? How am I going to accomplish this regular task that I take for granted? Time for some dishes.
Fortunately, we have 2 sinks in our kitchen, which I know not everybody does.
Dirty side, clean side.
We put, I think it was 6 liters in the one side and 4 liters in the other side.
Every drop counts.
The real trick is just to wipe your dishes with paper towel as much as you can before putting it in the water. I was quite shocked at how in some elements of the day, like brushing your teeth for example, how little water I actually do need. For me, the most challenging thing, doing a full load of laundry, is totally overwhelming. I mean, we did a small amount and I'm almost tempted to put that load in the washing machine just in case.
No city has done this before. No city's been forced to do this before.
Think about it, there are large portions of South Africa that have never had access to running water. They live like this every single day. They go and collect their water, they ration it out.
The biggest worry is the actual water collection. We didn't have to do that. 25 liters is a lot of water for one person to go and collect. If you're collecting for a whole family, then it's, even more challenging. It's a lot of people all waiting for their most basic resource.
As of 23 hours and 30 minutes, we officially only have one container of water left.
We actually, believe it or not, had about 3 liters of water left at the end of the day out of 75.
Thank goodness for Maya's portion, right?
Yes, because without Maya and her 25 liters, we would have run out of water.
I'm far more wasteful than I would like to be. And I didn't like that about myself, that realization. So I really do want to make a few changes in the way that we operate in our house.
We know that water-scarce cities, water-scarce locations, it's not a problem that's just going to magically disappear. 24 hours, we got a taste of it, but we will change our lifestyle because of this.
It'll be 4 more years until the next Winter Olympics kicks off. The 2018 Games wrapped up last night in Pyeongchang, South Korea. The Northern European nation of Norway led the world with 39 medals overall. Germany, Canada, the US, and the Netherlands followed. China was farther down the list with 9 medals, and it's the host of the next Winter Games in 2022.
12 million Chinese people skied in 2017, so says a widely cited ski industry report. Might sound like a lot, but that's less than 1% of the country's total population. Like most winter sports here, skiing is growing fast, but so far lacks mass appeal, which is why this might seem surprising. Beijing will host the next Winter Olympics in 2022 in a country with little winter sports tradition, but lots of Olympic experience. In 2008, China put on a show at the Summer Olympics in Beijing. Come 2022, you'll see some of those same venues retrofitted for the cold events. 3 different areas host it all, not without their problems. Start in mountainous Zhangjiakou, where the freestyle stuff kicks off. Think half-pipe, ski moguls.
To do all that, though, you need snow, and nearly all of it on this mountain is made by machines. But organizers say there is plenty of fake snow to go around, and so the focus is on building out competition sites.
We have to have everything ready by 2020.
Right, and you're on pace for that?
We're absolutely on pace for that, yes.
Speaking of pace, a lot of hotels and Olympic villages still need to be built. Chinese officials say they're on target too, not to mention this $9.2 billion railway designed to cut travel time between venues.
Even though it might not look like it at the moment, officials are promising that it will be done on time.
A tougher task? Getting ordinary Chinese people to truly care about the games.
So the challenge has to be to expand that winter sports base.
The government is trying, though. According to state media, a series of state-run initiatives will try to create a $160 billion winter sports industry by 2025 by getting 300 million people on skis and skates. The sense that the games will be a hit here, though, faces legitimate skepticism. The skiers and skaters and lugers and curlers will be here in just 4 years. Whether lots of Chinese people are engaged in the same sports by then is an open question. Matt Rivers, Chongli, China.
So I learned 2 things about avocados while working on today's show. 1, they're also called alligator pears. And 2, they're increasingly being used in marriage proposals. Think about it. Why use a wooden box when you can use a favorite fruit? Pop out the pit, pop in the ring, pop the question, pop open the avocado. If she says yes, you can celebrate with guacamole. If she says no, well, at least you won't go hungry. Now, some might think the idea is the pits, but others might think it's delicious. Whether you're ripe for romance or just so nervous you want to get it avocado over with, what better cure for cold feet than cold fruit? Folks should try this while the idea is still fresh, otherwise could make for one rotten pulposal. I'm Carl Azuz for CNN 10.